Remember when Samsung was the tech giant? Yeah, me too. It feels like just yesterday they were releasing groundbreaking phones and everyone wanted a piece of the action. Fast forward to today and things aren't looking so hot for the South Korean powerhouse. Samsung is in a crisis. Their profits are plummeting faster than a skydiver with a faulty parachute. The once untouchable tech titan is now facing a very real threat to its dominance. What the heck happened? Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive deep into the world of corporate drama, cutthroat competition, and enough tech jargon to make your head spin. This isn't just another tech company hitting a rough patch. So, grab your popcorn, settle in, and let's unpack this tech tragedy together. For years, Samsung seemed invincible. They were churning out phones, TVs, and appliances faster than you could say Galaxy S23 Ultra. But behind the shiny facade, cracks were starting to show. It turns out, even tech giants can make mistakes. From questionable product decisions to whispers of internal turmoil, the seeds of discontent were sown. The once mighty Samsung was starting to stumble. Their grip on the market loosened, and their rivals smelled blood in the water. Was this just a temporary setback, or was Samsung destined to go the way of the dinosaurs? Remember when Samsung phones were all the rage? They were the cool kids on the block, always pushing the boundaries with sleek designs and cutting-edge features. But lately, it's been a bit, well, meh. The once daring darling of the tech world seemed to have lost its mojo. Samsung, it seems, fell into the trap that snares many a giant, playing it safe. They stuck to tried-and-true formulas, churning out iterative updates that lacked the wow factor of their predecessors. The competition didn't get the memo. Chinese brands like Xiaomi and OnePlus came out swinging, offering comparable features at a fraction of the price. Consumers, once enamored by the Samsung logo, started to look elsewhere. The once unthinkable was happening. Samsung was losing ground. Samsung for years positioned itself as a premium brand. Their products screamed luxury, from the sleek design to the hefty price tags, and for a while, it worked like a charm. Consumers happily opened their wallets, eager to own a piece of the Samsung prestige. But then, something funny happened on the way to the bank. The definition of premium started to shift. Consumers, bombarded with a dizzying array of choices, became more discerning. They wanted value, innovation, and a damn good reason to justify the ever-increasing price of a flagship phone. Samsung, however, seemed slow to adapt to this evolving landscape. The once clear water between premium and overpriced was becoming increasingly murky, and Samsung was caught in the middle. Behind the gleaming facade of Samsung's headquarters, whispers of discontent were growing louder. The company, known for its hierarchical structure and top-down decision-making, was facing internal challenges that were starting to impact its performance. One of the most glaring issues was the lack of stability in the leadership ranks. It was like a game of musical chairs at the executive level, with key figures shuffling in and out with alarming regularity. This constant churn created uncertainty, stifled innovation, and made it difficult for the company to execute a cohesive, long-term strategy. The once mighty Samsung machine was starting to sputter, and the internal issues were partly to blame. While Samsung snoozed at the top, a dragon was stirring in the east. Chinese tech companies, once dismissed as cheap imitators, were undergoing a metamorphosis. They were investing heavily in research and development, attracting top talent, and churning out products that were not just affordable, but damn good. Huawei, Xiaomi, Oppo, Vivo. These names were no longer whispers in the wind. They were a full-blown typhoon, sweeping across Asia and beyond. They offered consumers a compelling alternative, cutting-edge technology, sleek designs, and attractive price tags. The once unthinkable was happening. Samsung was facing serious competition on its home turf. The Chinese tech giants weren't just playing catch-up anymore. They were setting the pace, pushing the boundaries of innovation, and doing it all at a price point that made Samsung sweat. Samsung, caught off guard by the ferocity of the Dragon's Awakening, found itself in a battle for survival. As if battling a dragon wasn't enough, Samsung found itself caught in the crossfire of a global tech Cold War. The United States and China, locked in a geopolitical tug-of-war, were increasingly using technology as a bargaining chip, and Samsung, reliant on both countries for components and markets, was feeling the squeeze. The Trump administration's trade war with China threw a wrench into Samsung's supply chains. Tariffs and sanctions made it more expensive to source components from China, while restrictions on selling to Chinese companies like Huawei hurt their bottom line. This wasn't just a trade war, it was a battle for technological supremacy. The US, wary of China's growing tech prowess, was determined to maintain its dominance. Samsung, caught in the middle, was forced to walk a tightrope, trying to appease both superpowers without jeopardizing its own interests. Remember that saying, "What goes around comes around"? Well, it seems like Samsung's past caught up with them, and this time, it came in the form of a global chip shortage. See, Samsung isn't just a phone maker, they're a major player in the semiconductor industry, supplying chips for everything from cars to computers. The chip shortage, triggered by a perfect storm of pandemic-induced supply chain disruptions and surging demand, hit the tech industry like a ton of bricks. This should have been a boon for Samsung, right? Well, not quite. While the shortage meant higher prices for their chips, it also exposed a vulnerability in Samsung's own supply chain. They too were reliant on other companies for certain components, and the shortage forced them to delay product launches and scramble for alternatives. The chip shortage highlighted the interconnectedness of the global tech industry and the risks associated with relying too heavily on a single supplier or region. Remember those market share charts, the ones where Samsung was always perched comfortably at the top? Well, lately, those charts have started to look more like a seesaw, with Samsung's position getting increasingly precarious. The once dominant player was feeling the heat from all sides as rivals old and new chipped away at their market share. The rise of Chinese brands in particular was a major blow. Companies like Xiaomi, Oppo, and Vivo, armed with aggressive pricing strategies and a knack for delivering value, were winning over consumers in droves, especially in key markets like India and Southeast Asia. Samsung, used to calling the shots, found itself playing defense. Every percentage point drop in market share represented millions of dollars in lost revenue, and the trend was not in Samsung's favor. The once unthinkable was becoming a reality. Samsung was losing its grip on the market it had dominated for so long. The market share seesaw was in motion, and Samsung, caught off balance, was struggling to regain its footing. Remember when the Samsung logo was synonymous with innovation, quality, and cutting-edge technology? Yeah, those were the good old days. Lately, the shine has started to wear off, and Samsung's brand perception has taken a hit. The innovation drought, the high prices, the whispers of internal turmoil, it all added up. Consumers, bombarded with marketing messages and a dizzying array of choices, were starting to question whether Samsung was still the tech titan it once was. The perception, fair or not, was that Samsung had lost its edge. This wasn't just about a few bad headlines, it was about a fundamental shift in how consumers viewed the brand. The trust, the admiration, the almost cult-like following that Samsung had cultivated over the years, it was eroding. And once brand perception starts to slide, it's incredibly difficult to regain lost ground. Remember when Samsung was the one pushing the boundaries, releasing phones with foldable screens, super fast charging, and cameras that put professional DSLRs to shame? Lately, it's felt like the innovation engine has stalled, stuck in a rut of iterative updates and Me Too features. The competition, meanwhile, wasn't standing still. Chinese brands in particular were churning out phones with groundbreaking features at price points that made Samsung look out of touch. Suddenly, the company that was once synonymous with cutting-edge technology was being out-innovated, and it showed. This wasn't just about bragging rights, it was about staying relevant in a market that's constantly evolving. Innovation, after all, is the lifeblood of the tech industry. For Samsung, the slowdown in innovation was a worrying sign. The question was, could they reignite that spark, or had the innovation well run dry? The crisis at Samsung wasn't just a company-specific issue, it sent shockwaves throughout the entire tech industry. Like a pebble tossed into a pond, the ripples spread outward, impacting suppliers, partners, competitors, and even consumers. For suppliers, Samsung's woes meant reduced orders, tighter margins, and a scramble to diversify their customer base. For partners, it meant uncertainty, delays, and a need to reevaluate their alliances. And for competitors, it presented both an opportunity and a cautionary tale. The ripple effect was felt most acutely by consumers, who relied on Samsung for everything from smartphones and televisions to appliances and even memory chips. The crisis at Samsung served as a stark reminder that even giants can stumble, and that the tech industry is a constantly evolving ecosystem where complacency can be fatal. Alright folks, enough doom and gloom. It's not all bad news for Samsung. They're not going down without a fight. Remember, we're talking about a company that built its empire on innovation. So, what's the plan? Time to crank up the R&D, dust off those thinking caps, and get those creative juices flowing. First order of business, no more playing it safe. Samsung needs to channel its inner daredevil, take some risks, and push the boundaries of what's possible. The foldable phone thing? That was a good start. Now it's time to double down, triple down, heck, go all in on the crazy out there ideas. Get ready because the innovation injection is about to begin. Look, we get it, Samsung, you're a premium brand, you make high-end products. But here's the thing, premium doesn't have to mean overpriced. It's time for a value proposition reboot, a reality check on what consumers really want and are willing to pay for. The competition is fierce and consumers are savvy. They're not just buying a logo anymore, they're buying value for their hard-earned cash. Samsung needs to sharpen its pencils, take a long, hard look at its pricing strategy, and find ways to deliver more bang for the buck. This doesn't mean slashing prices and becoming the Walmart of the tech world. It means finding the sweet spot, the right balance between premium features and competitive pricing. It means offering different tiers of products, catering to different budgets and needs. Remember, value is subjective. What one person considers a steal, another might see as a ripoff. Samsung needs to understand its target audience, segment its market, and tailor its offerings accordingly. It's time to stop chasing the ghost of premium past and focus on delivering real value for the modern consumer. Section 3. Streamlining the Ship. Okay, let's talk internal affairs. Remember that game of musical chairs in the management suite? Yeah, that's gotta stop. Samsung needs to stabilize its leadership, empower its employees, and foster a culture of innovation and collaboration. The corporate world can be a cutthroat place, but it doesn't have to be a dictatorship. Samsung needs to break down the silos, encourage communication, and empower employees at all levels to contribute their ideas and talents. Remember, the next big thing could come from anyone, not just the folks in the corner office. This also means streamlining operations, cutting the bureaucratic red tape, and becoming more agile and responsive to market changes. The tech world moves at warp speed, and Samsung needs to be able to keep up or risk being left in the dust. Think of it like this. Samsung is a giant ship, but even giant ships need a steady hand at the helm and a well-oiled engine to navigate stormy seas. It's time to batten down the hatches, chart a new course, and get this ship sailing smoothly again. Section 4. Embracing the Frenemy. What if, instead of beating the competition, Samsung joined forces with them? I know it sounds crazy, but in tech, teaming up with rivals can be the best way to stay ahead. The global chip shortage highlighted the importance of collaboration. Samsung relies on a complex web of suppliers and partners, sometimes competitors. Imagine Samsung and Apple collaborating on new technologies and supply chains. In a world facing challenges, the best way to win is to work together. Embrace the frenemy, find common ground, and achieve shared goals. Section 1. A Korean comeback story. So, can Samsung pull off a miracle comeback? Can they go from tech titan on the ropes to heavyweight champion of the world once again? The tech world is a fickle beast, and anything can happen. But here's the thing, never underestimate the heart of a champion. Samsung has been down before, but they've always found a way to bounce back. They're scrappy, resourceful, and have a war chest of cash. Plus, let's be honest, we kinda want them to succeed. The tech world needs Samsung. They're a force for innovation, a leader in many categories. A world without Samsung would be a lot less interesting. So yeah, a comeback is possible. It's gonna take hard work, innovation, and maybe a bit of luck. But if anyone can pull it off, it's Samsung. They've got the talent, resources, and drive to reclaim their throne. It's time for them to channel their inner Rocky and get back in the ring. The world is watching, Samsung. Show us what you're made of. Section 2. The Future of Tech. One foldable phone at a time. The Samsung saga is far from over. It's a story of innovation, competition, and the ever-changing landscape of the tech world. The future of tech is being written right now, and Samsung is holding the pen. Will they write a story of redemption, or become a cautionary tale? The answers lie in the choices Samsung makes today. One thing is for sure, the future of tech might just hinge on the success or failure of a foldable phone.